Please welcome from Wave TV News, News Director Bill Shorey.
For the last 2 decades, John Boel has been called to this stage more often than any other honoree. His 86 Emmy Awards have come in 21 different categories. And while he doesn't like to be called an investigative reporter, his work has taken viewers into countless dark corners and shined a light. But John Boel's most impactful story may be his own. When you scan his list of awards, you notice that John's won at least one Emmy every year since 1994. Every year except one. In 2011, John's battle with alcohol addiction left him without a job and with an uncertain future. But with the same kind of relentless determination he brings to everything he does, John battled back and reached new heights. Since he returned to the air in 2012, he's added 16 Emmys, and he's nominated for a total of 6 tonight. And for all those who have stumbled and faced a difficult time in their lives, John has once again shined a light into the dark. Tonight, we're proud the Academy has recognized John for 25 years of service and counting. And all of us at Wave 3 News are proud to have him as a colleague, as a leader, and as a friend.
I think a good way to look at excellence is the same way those of us who are in the recovery world look at excellence. There's a slogan that we all try to go by every day, every moment of every day: do the next right thing. And I think that that is the best guiding principle in work, in life, in family, in your spiritual life. Do the next right thing. Do the right thing when you're on a story and you have a difficult decision to make, an ethical kind of a decision. Do the right thing when it comes to your colleagues and encouraging them. Do the right thing in putting family before work, which is something I have not done at times. Just do the next right thing, and I think excellence then follows it. The most successful people I know happen to be people I've met in the recovery world the last several years who follow that principle religiously, and they're happier and they're more successful, and everything turned around for them in life, in every facet, when they started really living out that principle. Every newsroom I've ever worked in, there are people who are always trying to get better, and people who think they're better than they really are. And I've always tried in my life to be in the group trying to get better, trying to find ways to get better. And when I have slipped and thought I was better than I really was, I've gotten humbled. Come to the Emmys and gotten humbled in life. And we always have to check ourselves, and to succeed, we always have to be in the group that we're always trying to get better. I would just define it as giving everything you've got, knowing that you gave 110% and that you left it all, did every possible thing you could do to do your best work, give it your best effort, and be able to look yourself in the mirror. You know, there's a lot that saying, man in the mirror, there's a lot to be said for that. Like when you look in the mirror at the end of the day, even if you got beat on a story, look in the mirror and just say, I gave it my best. That is the best I can do. That's success.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Silver Circle honoree John Boel.
Thank you. So my wife and I were having a deep discussion one night about her career. And I asked her, if you had to do it all over again, what would you change? You know, your major, your school, your career, where we live, what would you change? And she went down the list of what she would do differently. And then long silence goes by and she says, how about you? What would you do differently? And it was the first time, this is years ago, and it was the first time I had ever, if you can believe that, pondered that question. And I really thought long and hard about it, and this amazing revelation hit me. I picked journalism as my major. I'd go to the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire again. I'd be a TV reporter and anchor, and I would live in Louisville, Kentucky, of all the places, not just because I love horse racing. I absolutely love living in Louisville, Kentucky. Now, how many people can say if they had to do all over again, they wouldn't change a single thing? That's how lucky I am. But there is one thing that I would change if I could, but I couldn't because I didn't know what I was dealing with. I didn't know that I had a chronic, progressive, fatal if untreated brain disease. That's the way it's listed by the AMA. I didn't know until I went off to rehab and learned about alcohol addiction, learned about addiction. I didn't know that through human genome testing in the late 90s, they were able to determine that 8 to 10% of humans are genetically predisposed to addiction because we were born with low serotonin and dopamine levels in our brain. I didn't know, until I saw Hazelden Treatment Center's own stats, that 1/3 of the people that go through there be fine, 1/3 will relapse, and 1/3 will die of their disease. I thought that 1/3 dying of the disease was no way, was bull. Within a couple of years of going to 3 meetings a week and 12-step programs, I quickly learned that number is really, 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 really low. And that was before the heroin crisis. As I've gone through this recovery thing, the very thing that was a source of so much humiliation for me, the public figureness of this, ended up being the biggest blessing. Because so many people come to me for help now, weekly, daily. And I speak everywhere from, recovery groups to, I even got invited to speak at the state police convention where they give away the awards for the police officers that get the most DUI arrests. They asked me to be the keynote speaker of that. So I get to help people way more than I even did as a journalist. I probably help more people in a month than I do in 5 years as a journalist. And that has really become a blessing. You never know where life is going to take you. That is where it has taken me. If 6.5 years ago, if you had told me when I was dealing with depression, suicidal, humiliated, no one would touch me. If you had told me 6.5 years ago that I was going to win 3 more News Anchor Emmy Awards and Kentucky AP Best Anchor this year in the next 6 years, I wouldn't have just laughed. That's just unbelievable. But when the Bible says I can do all things through Christ, it's for real, y'all. It's very, very for real. I'm gonna wrap up on a couple of memories. I've got some fantastic memories in this business. Following the final foal of Seattle Slew around for 3 years from birth to racing with my good friend Scott Eckhart, do a documentary. Doing a story on an old man trying to just qualify for the Kentucky Derby. He only had one mediocre horse in his barn. We followed him for weeks, and he wins the Bluegrass Stakes as the longest shot on the board and qualifies for the Kentucky Derby. Anchoring 5-6 hours Derby Day and Oaks Day with the amazing Lauren Jones. It is the highlight of my year, highlight of my life in this business, in the most amazing production, directors, producers, reporters. I go back contest time, I'm going through the show. I can't even believe that I was a part of it. It is amazing to think about the memories I have. But the memory I'll leave you with is a really bad memory. I remember in 2011, every month, getting on the city bus, dressing all up, hat on, hoodie on, flannel shirt on, so no one would recognize me, slouching down in the bus, going down from my monthly unemployment check, and getting down in there and listening to the people's stories about the jobs they used to have, and hearing all the stories every month. And the one thing I keep remembering to this day, the number one overriding thought I had every time was how lucky I was to be in this business. A business where we make people laugh, make people cry, educate people, expose corruption, enhance people's lives. How lucky I was to be in this business, how lucky I am to be in this business now, and how lucky you are to be in this business. God bless you. Thank you very much.